The second type of graph you're going to look at today is called a stem plot. Sometimes they're also called stem and leaf plots from when you might have been younger. The steps to doing this are also listed here, so I'll go through it and then we'll look at this actual graph. It says separate each operation into a stem consisting of all but the rightmost digit. So the leaf part here should only be one digit. Therefore, this is called the stem. Another thing that is nice about a stem plot is that you do get to see all the data. It's just separated by the stem on it to organize it. And that's the leaf. The lowest observation is 61, and the highest observation is 151. You can see there is a key down here. That's important. You've got to include a key. It says write the stem vertically and increase the order from top to bottom. So they do need to be in order. And draw a vertical line to the right. Examine the data and write each leaf to the right of its stem, spacing the leaves equally. And you don't use commas between them. You just space them equally. Make sure you title your graph and add a key. You must have a key. That way somebody can see that 6/1 is 61 and not 6.1 or 610. If the stems have a large number of leaves, it may be helpful to split the stems. So you can go 60 to 64 and then 65 to 69. Just make sure you don't have, you can't go 60 to 65 and then 65 to 69. Have them the same distance away from each other. And you can't have something that would end up in both stems. You can also do it on its side. So you can also do it where you put yours like this and turn it sideways. You can see it that way also. Most of the time they are done vertically though. And you can also do what's called a back-to-back, which is actually what we're going to do as practice. But this just has a title, student heart rates after doing 1 minute of jumping jacks. The stem part is 61, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. If there isn't any data there, you just leave it blank. You should go in numerical order though. All right? So what we are going to look at as our example here is we have actually two things. So we're going to build individual, and then I'm going to show you how we can build a back-to-back. So since these two things deal with the same thing, you can build a back-to-back. So it says the scores of 18 first-year college women on the survey of study habits and attitudes are given below. Okay. So we'll do just women separately. And it is our title. Sorry. That back up. Our title would be First Year College Women on the Survey of Study Habits and Attitudes. So, First Year College Women on the Study on the survey, of study habits. And you can make that much shorter, but that will be our title. And we have to figure out how we're going to, and there's not really any specific way you have to do it. You can do it however you like. You just want to be consistent, and your key has to work for every single question. So it looks like here we have to get from 101 as a low to, there's a 200. It might be the highest. So we have to get from basically 100 to 200. And we have in between. So what would probably be the easiest thing to do, so again, if you want to look at your stem plot up here, so what would be the easiest to do is to put stem, and put leaf, and to make this 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And those will represent the first part. And if you don't have some of these in there, you still have to write them unless there's a big gap. Like if it went from 16 to 30 or something, you could leave those as a dot, dot, dot. But you still have to include those. So here we go. We'll start with the 1 zeros. So there's 101 and there's 103. So we would do in order 1 and 3. And that would take care of our first two. And then we go to the 110s. So we have a 115. Oh, whoops, sorry, missed a 109 there. So that's going to have to include there. So we'll put a 9. All right, we have a 115. And it looks like that's the only one there. So we would do 115. Okay, that's that out. All right, 20s we have. And there we have a 129 and we have two 126s. So you do have to list both of them because you want to be able to see all the data. So 6, 6, and a 9. Alright, and then we go to the 130s. So we have a 37. And we have another 37. So we'll put 2 7. Okay. We have 40s. We have 140. And we have 148. So 140 and 148. There's that. We have 154, 154, 152. Alright, so we have 152, 4, and 4. Okay. And then we have two 165s and a 178. 165, 178, and then we have a 200. These are just link blank, and there should be 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And again, the nice thing about a stem plot is you do get to see all the data. You need to make sure you include a key somewhere. So we would do, our key would be 10/1 equals 101. You can pick any number from the data set to be your key. It doesn't have to be a specific one. And this would be our stem and leaf plot, or our stem plot. When you look at it, again, you can tell range. So we can see that the spread of the data is from pretty spread out. It's from 200 to 101. That's the range. We can also see that we have some lower numbers. And this actually has a shape. It's called skewed. We have some lower numbers, but then we have one out here that's pulling it that way. That's a little bit out of the ordinary. We go from 178 to 200, so we might consider this an outlier. But it is nice that you can tell that. Now, this is the women's. We can also do the same thing with the same title and do men. So everything would be the same over here, but we would do men. And we would do stem. And we would do leaf. And we would say, okay, so on this one, looks like we have different, we go from 70 a low, and it looks like the high is 187. So we would do the same thing, but this time we would do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So we have a 70, and 75, so 70 and a 75. 80, we have 88. So that might be it. 90s, 91, 92, 91 and 92. 100, 108, 109, and 104, 4, 8, and 9. We have in the teens, we have 114, 113, 115, 115. So 13, a 14, and 215. 14 and 215. We have in the 20s, 126. That might be it. In the 30s, we have just a 132. And in the 40s, we have 40 and 46. So 132, 40, and a 46. And we have a 151, 169. And then we have no 170, so we have a 180 and a 187. So we need 8, 180, and 187. So we have men's distribution. They're not as skewed, a bit more symmetrical, we'd say. The range goes from 70 to 187, so quite a bit different. And we can look at those. What you might be asked to do is actually compare the two groups. And when they ask you that, you might do what's called a back-to-back stem plot. And when you do a back-to-back, that means we're going to look at the two groups together. So you would still have your title. Sorry, forgot on here my key. So we could do like that equals 180. That would work. But a back-to-back, you can do this several different ways, but you can put the stem in the middle, and you'll have your title up here, but we'd have women on one side and we'd have men on the other. And this time, though, we'd have to go from 7 all the way to 20, because we want to include all the men's scores and all the women's scores. Now, this will be fairly easy because you already have it separated. So sometimes you do this first, though, and not the individual ones. So what you would do is you would have them what we call back-to-back. So for women, we would kind of just turn around. So we do 1, 3, 9, 5. So we would do 1, 3, 9, and we would do 5. And then we would do 6, 6, 9, 7, 7. So 6, 6, 9, 7, 7. 08, 2, 4, 4. 08, 2, 4, 4. And you can kind of see. And you would put your key over here again. And then for men, I'm going to run out of time here. So for men, you would just recopy theirs over here. 8, 1, 2. And then you can, oh, whoops. So sorry. These need to be moved down to where they belong. I apologize. So on a back-to-back, make sure you line everything up right. This needs to start with 10. So that would be 1, 3, 9. And then 5, 6, 6, 9. I'll just do a couple rows. Not getting it out there, but you continue that on. For men, you would do the same. And then you can compare the two. So you could see that women go all the way out to the 20s, men goes out to 17. So you could see that the women are higher numbers, the men are lower numbers, and you could compare the two groups. So this is called a back-to-back simile plot when you have the same data for women and men, outfield and infield and a baseball field, something like that. Then you have data you can compare. And that's called a back-to-back stem plot. Now you have one to look at also. Again, sorry for that mistake.